Hello, and I'm your still life cynic, being cynical, one frame at a time. Now, one of my all-time favorite slasher films is in fact the original Halloween movie made in 1978, directed by John Carpenter. One of my least favorite slasher films of all time is Halloween Part 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. The film stars an assortment of freshly lobotomized pseudo-teenage meatbags who have only two things on their small and effective brains: premarital fuckery and mind-melting substance abuse, although both are relatively played down for this installment. Okay, so we start off in the bowels of some nondescript dungeon, I suppose, where Michael's prego-popping niece Jamie is running from some evil doctors, I guess. She's running with her baby, and we get the sense that, she's tangled up in some conspiracy or some shit. Okay, so this movie really is confusing and doesn't make a lot of sense. I just want to get that out of the way right now. So apparently, a nurse is helping Mikey's niece with her escape, which goes all well and good until Mikey himself appears, apparently out of a cloud of smoke or some shit, and impales the poor nurse's head on a conveniently placed spike in the wall. Okay, so there are several glaring problems with the movie already, and I'd just like to go over them briefly. Number one, when you can liken Michael's first sudden appearance in the film to that of the giant pitcher's sudden intrusions in those Kool-Aid commercials, then you have a problem. Two, I know that this is a horror movie and all, and ambiance must be upheld, but what kind of self-respecting architect, even an evil one, would place an arbitrary spike jutting out of a wall? At least the poor nurse wasn't tossed into the swirling pool of lava on the second floor, or the dumpster full of dirty syringes in the dungeon's bathroom. And number three, nothing has been set up in this movie yet. There's a creepy voiceover pertaining to Michael Myers at the beginning and shit, but had I not seen the previous two films, I would have no idea who this woman is that Michael is chasing, nor why he is chasing her. It's almost as if we're picking up in the middle or something. Like, it's not the beginning. This is just something that we're plopped into. It's really just, it's bad storytelling, goddammit. Anyway, bad storytelling aside, Michael chases down his niece and her apparent baby to a couple of places before cornering her in a barn and fucking her shit up hardcore. Problem is, no baby with her. Well, Michael sets out to find that little baby and kill it for reasons that we, the viewer, aren't yet supposed to know. So let's change the subject entirely, shall we? Cut to Haddonfield, where a family is living in the old Myers house. There's a daughter, Kara, who has a child, Danny, awesome. The brother, Timmy, who's a free-spirited pot smoker. The mother, who isn't better off dead. And, of course, the liquor-swilling deadbeat dad who you wouldn't mind castrating with a rusty knife. So in more simpler terms, the gang's all here. Groovy pants. Anyway, these people are constantly being monitored by Tommy Doyle from across the street. For those of you not fully acquainted with the Halloween universe, Tommy Doyle was actually one of the children Laurie Strode was babysitting in the original movie when good old Mikey went on his initial rampage. Another fun fact, Tommy in this movie is played by Paul Rudd from Anchorman. This leads me to ask the question, why is Paul Rudd in this movie? I mean, I like Paul Rudd. I love him. I think he's fucking genius, but why is he in a Halloween movie? Anyway, moving on. Tommy, being the very fortunate guy that he is, stumbles upon Jamie's baby in a train station bathroom. I kind of forget how this happens, but then again, who really gives a shit? So, Tommy takes the baby, whom he names Steven, back to his boarding house, which is run by Norman Bates' mother. Ha ha! That was a joke. Alrighty, so let's have a recap. Michael's niece, Jamie, was held captive by deranged doctors whose affiliation at this point is completely unknown. Michael's niece is murdered by Michael himself. There's a family that lives in Michael's old house, and a creepy guy that spies on them who is now pretty much a stepfather. Got it? Good! Now, I'm not gonna go through the whole plot, so let's just get to the essentials. Now, Michael's whole mission here is to murder the cute little baby, but along the way he kills a bunch of other people too. For example, Kara's mother, not cool by the way, her brother and his girlfriend, and some other pointless characters. However, the best and most gruesome kill is saved for Kara's cock-wrangling father. You see, Michael impales the guy on a rod and then stabs the rod into a power breaker or something and electrocutes the shit out of him until he blows up into a million pieces. This kill is Still Life Cynic approved. However, the movie takes a nosedive from here. Yeah, apparently that weird old lady that I compared to Norman Bates' mother earlier, Tommy's landlord, is actually evil for some reason and kidnaps Kara, Danny, Tommy, and little baby Steven. Prior to this scene, however, Tommy explains that he's been studying Michael Myers for years and has uncovered that Michael's madness is derived from an ancient druid curse known as the Curse of the Thorn? What? Okay. The legend behind the curse is that a person that is inflicted by it is driven to exterminate his or her entire clan in order to preserve civilization? Okay, so I feel another recap is in order after that little piece of information. So, Michael is in fact not a raving psychotic lunatic. He's just the pawn of an evil druid cult who wants to save civilization by making him brutally murder his entire family and save the world? What? What the fuck is going on here? Wait, does that make Michael Myers a messiah or something? Does that make him like Jesus? Like he's come to save the world by sacrificing his own family? I don't understand. Because before he was complete evil. They even like have it on the fucking like movie tagline. Oh, evil comes back. Evil never goes away. Blah, blah, blah. But now you're telling me that he is good? But, I mean, okay. All right. Okay. All right. I can come to terms with that. Okay. So Michael's true purpose is to save civilization by exterminating his own family. Okay. But wait a minute. If that's his purpose, then why does he kill so many people that aren't even related to him? Now, I watch movies and I read comic books and I play video games, so I'm no stranger to suspending belief in order to accommodate fantastical things like witchcraft and wizardry and Daniel Radcliffe being straight. But I would appreciate it if these fantastical things at least made sense in the world in which they are set. The evidence we have seen in the prior movies in which Michael has starred in has led us to conclude that Michael Myers' wrath is indiscriminate. Yes, though we know that his ultimate goal is his family, he's shown no problem going out of his way to kill not only complete strangers, but people he just literally stumbles upon. So for the movie producers to turn around and suddenly assure us that, oh, Michael isn't evil, he's not a serial killer, he's just a pawn in some harebrained scheme to save the world, it doesn't make any fucking sense! It doesn't make sense! Okay. Alright. Alright. I'm sorry. I'm collected. I'm good. Let's just move on. Okay, so our heroes awaken in the mental hospital that Michael had been inhabiting for 15 years before his escape and subsequent murder-a-thon, Smith Squared Sanitarium. Why are they there? Well, I'll tell you why. Shut your fucking mouth. Anyway, the masked killer chases our stalwart heroes, and they inevitably run into good old Dr. Loomis, played by Donald Pleasance. who at this point in his career had pretty much no shame. So the heroes just stand around and talk about Michael some more, mostly about stuff we already know. But for those of you unfamiliars, Dr. Loomis was Michael's psychiatrist for those 15 years he spent in Smith's Grove Sanitarium. He has been a mainstay character in every single film, except for 3, because, well, Michael wasn't in 3, and has proven to be just as indestructible as Michael himself. Also, while in this hospital, we learn who is the head of the Druid cult, and who has unleashed Michael on society. Who is the leader? Who is the real villain of the whole fucking story? Dr. Wynn! Wait a second. Who in the fuck is Dr. Wynn? Seriously, who the fuck is Dr. Wynn? I haven't even heard of this dude up until right now. Well, according to Wikipedia, Dr. Wynn was Samuel Loomis's boss at Smith's Grove Sanitarium. Okay. And also, according to Wikipedia, he's only appeared clearly in the first movie. For a minute and a half. Yeah. A minute and a fucking half. That's why me, a person who's seen all the movies, didn't know who the fuck he was! Okay. I just want to let some friggin' advice leak out of this for Hollywood writers. In order to be affected or even surprised when someone is evil when they were thought to be good, the audience has to know who the fuck they are before the goddamn switch. Okay? Like, I know, like, character development and shit is for fags, but seriously, a little bit of character development once in a while helps a lot. Like, for example, so we know who the fuck Dr. Wynn is! Okay, for the sake of the viewer, I'm going to try and start wrapping this shit up. So, more Michael chases, pit stop to murder a fuckload, and I do mean a fuckload of cult scientists, despite the fact that they're supposedly in control of Michael, but let's just not get into that. Blah, 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 let's skip to the end, shall we? Tommy, being the badass that he is, injects Mikey with a handful of sedatives before mercilessly beating the shit out of him with a fire extinguisher. Considering the fact that Michael has been shot and set on fire, this ending is pretty friggin' lame. So the last shot is of Tommy, Kara, Danny, Baby Steven, and Dr. Loomis standing outside of Smith's Grove, getting ready to leave, when Loomis reveals that he will be staying in order to settle unfinished business. It is then implied that Michael survived his brutal beatdown, and is also implied that he kills Dr. Loomis. Well, that was totally worth an hour and a half of my life. Seriously, this movie is filled with so much senseless bullshit, it's hard to pick one thing in particular to rant about. The plot is bloated, stupid, and inconsistent. The acting is almost universally horrid, no offense to Paul Rudd. And even the cinematography blows. I mean, every shot is as dark as fucking night. I mean, it's like they just threw a bunch of fucking paint all over the fucking photo reel and just was like, there you go, cinematography, it's awesome. What else is there to say? If you see this movie in a store or even in your friend's house, I recommend you set it on fire. I'm your still life cynic, being cynical, one frame at a time.